All right, so today we're diving into North Korea's nuclear program.
Uh,
You sent us this investor article, North Korea's Nuclear Ambitions, the Cost of Power and Survival.
right.
And it's fascinating. How is one of the poorest nations a nuclear power?
Yeah, it really is.
It's crazy. Average North Korean makes less than $3 a day.
Wow.
But they've got nukes that could hit the U.S., theoretically.
It is pretty amazing how they've pulled this off.
Yeah.
You know, the roots go back to the 50s. Kim Il-sung,
The founding father.
because he goes to the Soviets, says it's for energy, peaceful,
Uh-huh.
but quickly it shifts. Military focus,
Oh, really?
rivalry with South Korea, the U.S., that fueled it.
So they were playing both sides from the beginning.
Kind of, yeah. And the key thing then was 79, the Yongbyon reactor gets built.
That's still important today, right?
Huge cornerstone of their plutonium production ever since.
Setting the stage for what we see now, even with Kim Jong-un.
Absolutely. Kim Jong-il takes over in 94, famine, economy's a mess, but he doubles down. Nuclear overfeeding his people.
Wow.
Chilling, right? Military first, that's Song on policy.
The article mentions 98, a missile test, multi-stage.
Oh, yeah.
Was that when their ambitions really shifted?
It was a signal for sure, but Kim Jong-un, 2011, he's the one.
Okay.
Nukes are central to him, not just defense anymore.
It's about more than that.
Regime survival, his legitimacy, its power,
So the nukes are like his power move
You got it. Poor, isolated, but he holds the world's attention.
because of the nukes.
With that threat, he gets in the conversation, forces his way.
And it's working.
To some degree, aid, concessions, denuclearization talk.
He uses that.
Yeah, it's leverage.
So 2006, their first test, now they've got like 50 warheads.
Estimated, yeah.
But with a bad economy, how did they get so advanced?
It's wild, right? Domestic scientists, engineers, all they do is this
Huh.
self-sufficiency, necessity, and they've had wins, scary ones.
Like the ICBMs in 2017, reaching the U.S.
Huge escalation, game changer.
Yeah, felt that way.
And it's not just range, they're doing solid fuel missiles now.
What's the difference?
Faster launch, harder to intercept, unpredictable.
So they're always innovating, even with sanctions. Pressure.
Yep, and it's not just them alone anymore. This is new.
What do you mean?
Russia, they're partnering up strategically.
Oh, this is where it gets messy.
Yeah, really complicated now.
So what's the deal with that? Who gets what?
Mutually beneficial. Russia's got its own problems, needs help.
Militarily.
Uh-huh. North Korean artillery shells
Yeah.
found near Israel even.
No way.
And in return, tech, raw materials, stuff, sanctions try to block.
So North Korea keeps advancing because of this.
Exactly. It's not just a rogue nation anymore. They got backup.
That's a scary thought globally.
It is, raises the stakes, but think about this. How are they paying for it all?
Good point. Economy's weak, but all this military stuff.
Right. Songun, remember, that's their thing.
Military first, yeah, but that's just a policy.
It's deeper, it's their identity, culture, everything revolves around it.
The article said 7 to 11 billion a year, their military budget.
Out of a 25 billion GDP,
That's a huge chunk.
it shows how deep this goes, woven into their society.
But even with that, how do they afford the nukes themselves?
Well, there's another piece, might surprise you.
Okay, I'm listening.
A lot of it is cybercrime.
What, like hacking? Stealing money that way?
Exactly. U.S. estimates up to 40% of their nuke program.
Funded by hacking. Get out.
It shows how far they'll go, makes stopping them harder.
And it's not just cyber, right?
Nope, other stuff too.
Like what? Give me the rundown.
Drugs, fake money, black market weapons, sending workers overseas.
To earn money that goes back?
Yep, all to keep the nukes going. It's a whole shadow economy.
Wow, that's wild. So outside the rules. Dangerous.
It is, but the big question is, what's Kim Jong-un's goal with all this?
Yeah, why do all this just to have nukes? There's got to be more.
Oh, there's definitely a deeper strategy. We got to unpack that.
Okay, let's get into it then. What's he really after?
It's deeper than just wanting a big arsenal. Got to look past that.
Okay, so what is it then? Purely defense? Or is there something more to it?
I mean, yeah, defense is in there for sure.
Right.
But for Kim, it's regime survival too. Big time.
Keeping himself in power.
His whole dynasty. Yeah, protection from threats, inside and out.
So it's like his insurance policy, but on a global scale.
Exactly. Deterring anyone from messing with him, making it too costly.
But there's more, right? It can't just be about not getting attacked.
You got its power projection too, being taken seriously.
Even though they're struggling economically.
Isolated, yeah, but nukes get you a seat at the table.
Like forcing their way into these international talks.
Exactly, punching above their weight, and it works for leverage too.
Oh, you mean in negotiations, like with the U.S.?
With anyone, Dangle denuclearization, get aid, sanctions relief.
So they've gotten stuff they wanted by doing that.
Sometimes, yeah, it's a tactic they use.
But doesn't that just prove their point that nukes equal success?
It's a vicious cycle. The more they're rewarded, the
Right.
more ingrained it gets.
And Songun, that feeds into this whole thing,
It's
right?
big time. It's not just the military being strong, it's everything.
So it's like their whole culture is built around this.
Their identity, their education, their propaganda, it's everywhere.
Wow. And it's about control too, right? Keeping people in line.
Yeah, obedience, fear of the outside world, it's all connected.
It's kind of bleak, honestly. The article makes it sound rough in North Korea.
It raises tough questions. How much are the people suffering for this?
Because of the nukes, yeah, so then what can we do?
That's the million-dollar question. It's not easy.
Sanctions haven't really worked, diplomacy, limited success.
Right, and military action, that's a whole other can of worms.
Well, too risky, I get it.
Catastrophic potential, escalation, unintended consequences, innocent people.
So we can't just sit here and do nothing either.
No way. The world has to engage, but it's got to be smarter.
What does that look like? Smarter engagement, what's the plan?
Multifaceted. That's the key word. Pressure and de-diplomacy.
So not just one or the other?
No, got to involve everyone. China, South Korea, Japan, too.
It's like a team effort.
And it can't just be about nukes. Got to address the root causes.
Why they want nukes in the first place?
Their security, history, they want respect, a seat at the table.
We've got to offer them a different way, a better way.
Exactly. One that doesn't involve nukes. A peaceful, prosperous future.
That sounds really hard, building trust with a regime like that.
It's a long game, for sure, but it's got to be done.
Where do we even start after all these years of them being isolated?
Small steps, common ground, any chance for dialogue. That's how it starts.
Showing them there's an alternative, that they don't need the nukes.
Right, but it's a giant knot to untangle. So many factors.
Tensions, different countries, their own goals. It's messy.
It is. No easy answers, but we can't ignore it. The stakes are too high.
This has been really eye-opening. It's not just about wanting to blow stuff up.
There's so much more to it. History, politics, people's lives are at stake.
And the human element, that's what gets me. The average North Korean.
Yeah, they're living under this system. It's their reality.
We've got to keep thinking about them, not just the weapons. You know, we've talked a lot about the nukes and the politics,
Yeah.
but it's the people that stick with me. What's life like over there?
In North Korea, yeah, it's tough to know for sure. So much is hidden.
Like a black box, the article said that, but we get glimpses.
From defectors, some reports, it's not a pretty picture.
So what's it like then, based on what we DO know?
Basics are scarce, healthcare, education's all propaganda.
And food, that's a constant problem.
Big time, but billions go to nukes. It's backwards.
It's messed up, prioritizing weapons over their own people.
And Songun, that's not just a rule, it's how they think.
Like brainwashing almost, but on a national scale.
It's control, obedience, always an enemy to fear. That's the message.
So it goes beyond Kim Jong-un. It's the whole system, man.
The whole culture, yeah, shapes how they see the world.
I wonder what that does to people. Do they buy it or just give up?
Hard to say. We can't assume everyone's the same, right?
Yeah, true. It's easy to lump them all together, but they're individuals.
With their own lives, hopes, fears. We don't hear those voices much.
It's all about the nukes, the threats. We forget there are people there.
And they're the ones who suffer. That's what makes peace so important.
Not just for the region, but for them to maybe live a normal life.
That's the goal. But it's tough. No easy answers here.
This deep dive, it's shown me how layered it all is. I didn't realize.
It's more than headlines. It's history. It's fear. It's real people.
So for anyone listening, keep learning. Don't take things at face value.
Look for different views. Challenge what you think you know.
Because that's how we find solutions. This is on all of us.
Understanding each other, that's where peace starts. Maybe one day.
Nukes won't be the answer anymore. That's what I'm hoping for.
It's a long road, but worth fighting for.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. It's been a lot.
My pleasure.
Keep exploring, keep asking questions. That's what matters.
Exactly.
Until next time, everyone, stay curious out there.